Hello everyone, I'm Food for Dogs, and today I want to do three smaller unboxings, three very different types of games. I'll start off with a Japanese game called Meiji Tokyo Renka. And this is, as you can see, a game I imported from Japan. It is, as is usual with me with Japanese games, it's a visual novel, and sometimes there is an option to either just get the PS Vita game, the standard game, or to get the limited edition or special edition, whatever they call it. And these special editions are often not much more expensive, so it really makes sense if you go to the trouble of importing and paying the postage, etc. You might as well get the boxed edition, I think. There's usually something nice inside. Now, Meiji Tokyo Renka, I didn't know anything about before I bought it. I simply liked the artwork on the cover, and I saw it was a visual novel. I saw that there is a guide available in English that will give you enough help that you can just navigate through the game. So I thought, well, that would be worth it. And only then did I look it up a bit more and found to my great surprise that this is a thriving franchise in Japan. It started as a mobile game in 2011 and had over 300,000 users playing it. So then in 2013 it was ported to the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, by the well-known developer Broccoli, and it received sequels and updates, and later on the whole franchise was expanded. They had adaptations like theatrical animated films, musical theatre adaptations, an anime series, and a live action film. So this obviously was quite a big thing in Japan. So let's have a look what we have inside the box. So here we have a small booklet, and I'll just have a quick look inside. It's got some very nice illustrations. Now the story concerns a high school student called Mei, who is transported back in time to the Meiji period, that's sort of late 19th century, where she meets several historical figures and is invited to live with them. I thought that sounded quite intriguing, really. So here's the game itself. Now, as I understand it, the story continues. May has lost her memories. Well, amnesia is, of course, a well-worn trope in Japanese visual novels and games. And she begins helping the men with their own concerns through her ability to see and interact with spirits. And while waiting for the next full moon, she comes to consider whether to stay in the Meiji period altogether or return home. I thought it sounded interesting. So let me see, is there anything else? Yes, oh, look at that. I assume it's a soundtrack, but I'm not totally sure. Sometimes Japanese games like to include other things, like short sort of audio recordings of little extra scenes and that sort of stuff. So I don't know. It's I'll have to find out. I do love a good mystery, and this is a little mystery. So as you see, a small. That's what I like about these Japanese boxed editions. They're often quite small and compact, but there's actually quite a lot in there, and nice things, you know, for the price of what you'd normally pay for a standard game, not much more. It's really nice to have these extras, I think. So that was Meiji Tokyo Renka. Full Moon is the subtitle, and I look forward to playing that. So next up we'll move to something completely different. Nippon-ichi Software, Lapis Labyrinth. And I did find out that the X in between, it looks like it might be Lapis times or Lapis X Labyrinth, but apparently that's not pronounced. It's just Lapis Labyrinth. And on the back, it's a fairly straightforward little dungeon crawler. On the back it tells you really all you need to know about the game. It's all about you know, extravagant bashing of enemies and loot. And that will help the town recover. Yeah, okay, sounds good to me. It's pure fun and pure entertainment. So let's get the cover off and see what we have inside. Now there's a little story behind this particular edition. When it first came out, I decided, well, it's a minor game and I had other limited editions on order. I thought I'll let that one pass and I'll just catch up with it digitally. And then it was gone. It had sold out on the Nippon-ichi store. But recently I saw a message from NIS that they had found a few copies stashed away in their warehouse, and they were selling them. They said, well, go quickly if you want one. And I thought, well, this is a little sign, I better go and grab it. And I wondered what would be in the box. I wasn't expecting much, but actually, oh, you see, it's tightly packed. Actually, I was surprised. Again, we have a very compact little box with actually a really eye-catching design, I think. And they've packed a lot in there. So we've got the soundtrack with 18 tracks, and maybe I can actually get the game out now. Yes, there we are. This is the game itself. And finally, this is the real little star of the package, the art book. And I thought, oh yeah, okay, you know, an art book, a small one, it is hardbound, let's have a look. And I was surprised because I straight away liked the illustrations. They will be familiar if you know Nippon-ichi Software games, have played them. The style of illustration will be familiar. And if you like it, then I think you really will like it. And these are the individual characters that you can choose to be in your party when you go hunting for loot in the dungeons. And I really dig the artwork, and I really love just browsing through it, you know. So I was actually really pleased with that. And there is a fair amount in here, including not just characters, but scenario, backgrounds, even monsters. Just really cool. The game is a bit unusual, the mechanics, in that your party of 4 is not individual, but they're sort of stacked on top of each other when you go into the dungeon. It reminds me a bit of the world of Final Fantasy, you know, the way you're stacked. And accordingly you can use the different sort of special abilities of the characters. So it looks funny, it looks cute, and it's very fast paced, and it's fun to play. So that is Lapis Labyrinth. And finally we're coming to the one game that I have been really anticipating a lot, and that is AI, the Somnium Files. And I'll just show you the back because it'll give you an idea about the game. We're talking here a hybrid type of game. It is visual novel coupled with investigation, puzzle solving, that sort of thing. I'll just take the slip cover off. And there we are, very understated, very classy. But on the back is one of the main characters. I think she's called Iris. Now, the important thing about this game is that it was thought up, written, designed, brought together by Kotaro Uchikoshi. Now, those of you who have played the CERO Escape series of games will know the name. That is why I put out these 2 Vita games from the CERO Escape series. This first one is the Nonary games, which comprises the first 2 games in the trilogy, and this is the final game in the trilogy, Zero Time Dilemma. Now, Kotaro Uchikoshi joined Chunsoft in 2007. Nowadays we're quite used to having sort of hybrids where you have a visual novel with puzzles and other, you know, active elements incorporated, but back then that actually wasn't really done, and he thought it up in a way. In 2007 he joined Chunsoft, and his first game was 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors, which was released in 2009, and it came out in the West for the Nintendo DS, I remember, but I never bought it on that platform. It was only much later brought to the PlayStation Vita in that collection. In 2012, the sequel was published. It was called Virtue's Last Reward, and many of you will probably be familiar with that. I think that's possibly the best known title in the trilogy. I certainly have played quite a bit of it, and it is a very, very good game. Unfortunately, both of these, collected here in the Nonary Games, were commercial failures in Japan. It took a long time for the series to get any traction, but there was a devoted group of fans really who kept sort of pushing for him to carry on the work. But after the non-success of the first two games, Kotaro Uchikoshi went on to make an anime, and you may have heard of that one. It's called Punchline, and it came out in 2015 in Japan. Excuse me. And that is a really good anime. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend it. We absolutely loved it. Also available as a game, of course, as a Vita game. So he returned in 2016 after many requests to finish the game series, and finally completed the third game in the trilogy, very much at the request of fans. And I think it was then that people finally began to take notice, and with the reissue in this compilation, it made it easier for people to access the first game, which was otherwise difficult to obtain. So let me have a look if I can get inside this box, and we can have a look. So after that, he left Chunsoft last year and formed his own company. And this is the very first game that has come out of this new venture. It is, of course, as you can see, still published by Spike Chunsoft. They're otherwise, of course, very well known for the Danganronpa series. So let's see if I can get this out. Yes. Oh, and I even got it out the right way. Look at that. So let me see. Yeah, I'll just hold it up first. So that's obviously the game. And this is, if I can get it out, an acrylic standee of the main character Iris. And I'm looking forward to putting that up. That looks actually really, really nice. Okay, and I'm very, very pleased to have got an art book with it. Now, Kotaro Uchikoshi has actually written a foreword, and I just want to read you that foreword because I just thought it was, you know, so very Japanese and absolutely wonderful. So I'll just read it to you. AI, the Somnium Files, is a completely new, original title. It's not a sequel or a spin-off. It's not based on a manga or light novel, and it doesn't use pre-existing characters. We created this from zero. The characters, the world, the story, the game system, all of it. It was like starting at a blank canvas, trying to draw a monster that you've never seen before. There was no easy answer. Of course, me being the director, an answerish thing existed inside me, but I didn't know if it was the correct one. To be honest, it was the staff of this project that taught me the right answer as we worked on this game together. I think this is the first time that I relied on my team for so many creative parts of the game. most of the game's moving parts, the zeros into ones, were ideas from the staff. That's why I see this project not as my game, but as our game. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I also want to thank you who are holding this art book right now. I'm repeating myself, but this is a completely original title. You didn't know if this game would be fun at all, but you went ahead and bought it anyway. I would like to express my gratitude for your courage. But it's okay, don't worry. I promise this game will not disappoint you. When you reach the ending, you will realize that your decision was the correct answer. AI in Japanese means love, ai. I would like to present this game to you with all of my love. Thank you very much, Kotaro Uchikoshi. I thought that was just lovely. And here you can see some of the designs in the art book. What I love about all of the designs is they have these very long sweeping lines, which gives it a lot of energy. It just looks absolutely beautiful, I think. Again, we see the sweeping lines, whether it's in the body position or in the clothing, the coat swinging. It's a wonderful design. So that is not a thick art book, but what is in here is very beautiful and of high quality. So I'm very pleased to have that, and the little standee. That was AI, the Somnium Files unboxing. Thank you very much, Kotaro Uchikoshi. The reviews so far have been extremely positive, and I'm obviously very thrilled to hear that. That was it, what I called 3 quick unboxings. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please keep well. I'm Food for Dogs. Bye-bye.